How's it going, everybody? Texas Man here. I hope you guys are all having a great day. Make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up if you guys really enjoy it. Subscribe if you guys have not already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all, head over to Twitch. Follow me there at Douglas447. Stream there at least once a week, whether it's for Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, or Destiny 2. And in this review, we're going to be talking about the Book of Boba Fett, Season 1. And as always, guys, we're going to talk positives and negatives. I'm going to be going from the very first episode or chapter of the show and going through all of the episodes and talking about what I liked and what I didn't like. And of course, I'll give you guys my final score for the entire first season of the Book of Boba Fett at the very end. So first of all, I really was not excited to watch the show to begin with. I had no interest in watching it. I already knew what the show was going to focus on primarily, and that is how Boba Fett survived the Sarlacc pit during the events of Star Wars Episode 6 Return of the Jedi. So I've already read that he survives in the Star Wars non-canon, and that they were just making it canon now that he did survive, so his character can be continued onwards in the Star Wars universe, which is fine. I don't care. So me watching the first episode, I was like, okay, it explains how he survived, and now we get him having to get his armor back, and we find out, the Jawas took it from him, and that's how the Marshal from the Mandalorian show had it, because the Jawas took it from Boba, and then the Jawas gave it to the Marshal. So that was cool, and the sound design and the alien designs in this entire show were fantastic. I was happy seeing Boba kind of becoming the new Jabba the Hutt and having to deal with the political vacuum that happened when Jabba was killed off, and then of course Bib Fortuna gets killed by Boba. So Boba is now like Jabba the Hutt 3.0 kind of, as the crime boss of Tatooine, and him having to deal with the politics of being a crime lord on Tatooine is a cool concept. They just didn't flesh it out, and I really wish that they did. I was happy that Boba's character kind of did get fleshed out a lot. Seeing him having to figure out if he wants to rule with fear or rule with respect is also a great concept. We also get to see him, after the events of Return of the Jedi, having to learn how to be not just a bounty hunter, but have to learn how to be a normal human being. And so we get to see a lot of him interacting with Tusken Raiders. We get to see a lot more of their culture. They're not just, these sand people that are just brute killers. We actually learn that some are peaceful and some are, just nonsensical brute killers. But that's not who they all are. There's actually different Tusken Raider groups and clans out there on Tatooine, so that was kind of cool. I also enjoyed the train heist in episode 2, and with episode 2 we finally get to see that Boba actually has a lot more brains. There's a lot of people in the Star Wars universe that are just run and gun, or they're bounty hunters, or they're very one-dimensional. I'm happy that the show fleshed out the fact that Boba is not just a bounty hunter for hire, but he's also a leader. He has brains, and he's willing to listen to the knowledge and wisdom of others, so that was really cool to see as well. Unfortunately, in episode 3, Boba's Tusken Raider family gets wiped out. We assume, of course, that it is wiped out by this rival gang that's wanting to get tax money from the Pike Syndicate. And we find out, of course, at the end of episode 7 that the Pike gang did not wipe out the Tusken Raider family of Boba's, but it was actually the Pike Syndicate. So the Pike Syndicate wiped out both groups, so they didn't have to pay tax royalties for moving spice through Tatooine, which was kind of an ingenious political decision. Also, Boba gets his own Rancor, and of course that shows up at the end of episode 7 and wrecks some high-tech Pike Syndicate droidicas, which was kind of cool. Chapter 4, episode 4, we got a lot of tie-in events with Mandalorian Season 1, showing us how Boba Fett and Fennec Shand meet up, and how Boba saves her life and kind of turns into like slightly a cyborg, and I thought it was kind of cool. We also get to see the Slave One in action, and yes, I'm calling it the Slave One. I'm not calling it Boba Fett's ship, it's the Slave One, because that's what it was originally. So it is what it is. But we get to see the Slave One in full action, and we get to see um, the ship use a seismic charge device, and it kills the Sarlacc pit that Boba was trapped in for years. And I was really happy. We also, in episodes 5, we get to see the Mandalorian come back, and I was really shocked that the show spent so much time with Mandalorian, with the Mandalorian Din Djarin from the Mandalorian show. I thought it was just really cool, but it was also bizarre that we got a full episode without Boba Fett even showing up in his own show. We get the Darksaber, some IG-11 references, X-Wings, the famous line, this is the way. Din Djarin gets his new ship, which is a Razor Crest-like N1 Naboo starfighter, which is really cool. We also get to see this ring world, kind of like a Halo world in Star Wars, which is kind of cool. And it also had a mixture vibe of Coruscant in there, which is pretty cool. We get a flashback scene, which was really epic to see how the Empire basically bombed the crap out of the Mandalorian capital, and we get to see KSO units and little droids, and it kind of looks like Terminator almost, which is kind of cool. And at the very end of the episode, Mando, of course, is unfortunately kicked out of the group that he was with when it comes to Mandalorians. So now he is an outcast from those Mandalorians that he is used to being associated with, and now he's kind of just on his own and has no idea what to do. Of course, he ends up being offered by Boba Fett to work for him or work alongside him. It's kind of unclear as to which, but I was happy to see that, he has a purpose and he has a place to go. Episode 6, the Cowboy Sheriff from Mandalorian Season 2 returns. R2-D2 comes back. We see Luke Skywalker. Grogu is in here, which I'm just like, what? It's episodes 5 and 6 is basically the Mandalorian Season 2.5, which is kind of interesting. We get a ton of great references to The Last Jedi, Yoda, Return of the Jedi, Order 66 events, Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, a reference to Lord of the Rings. Even Ahsoka Tano shows up in here, which I was really shocked to see that they were able to get all these people in here. And this is something that I've always wanted to see, especially when it comes to Clone Wars and Rebels, knowing that Ahsoka survives Order 66 and that she's alive past Return of the Jedi, is seeing Ahsoka Tano and Luke Skywalker talking together in the same scene, in the same room. And so Ahsoka's probably off screen telling Luke Skywalker, hey, I knew your father. And Luke's like, yeah, look, just to let you know, he did get redeemed and he did die as a good person. He was redeemed for all the horror that he created. And so I loved seeing them chit chat. And Ahsoka's like, I'm an old member of the family. And Luke is like, I feel like I'm kind of like my dad. Ahsoka's like, yeah, you kind of are, but in a good way, which is really nice. And like I said, I felt weird watching episode 5 and 6. It's odd that this show is called The Book of Boba Fett, but unfortunately, the show is kind of better when he's not around. When he's just a cameo, it's good. If the show is not focusing so much on him, it's kind of okay. It's a very average show. And that's what I had to say about episodes 1 through 4, is that I felt like they were average. And the show, unfortunately, didn't really get going and getting good until episode 5 hit. And then, of course, lastly, with episode 7, we get to see Boba Fett versus Cad Bane. Of course, Boba kills Cad Bane because that's just how it goes. So I was happy to see that. Some Clone Wars old concept art being put into a future show. I love that. Of course, the Pikes are the big enemy, so we get Boba's forces. Freetown shows up, and I really like that. So the war for Tatooine was just great. There was so much that happened in it. I don't want to talk too much about it, otherwise this video would be at least half an hour long, but there was just so much that happened in it. We get the Pike droidical walkers in here. Boba Fett shows up riding his Rancor, so that was really cool. Of course, Grogu gets reunited with Din Djarin, the Mandalorian. So baby Grogu chose the Mandalorian armor over Yoda's lightsaber. So I like how that's set up for the Mandalorian season 3 that's supposed to come out later in 2022, hopefully. There's just tons of fun things. Cad Bane, the Pikes, the Mayor, R2D2 shows up again. The lady with all the droids. I don't know her character name, unfortunately, but the lady with all the droids was in here. That was really cool. Grogu, and we get to see Luke Skywalker's X-wing in action, which is kind of fun. And there is a post-credit scene because at the end of Episode 6, Cad Bane ends up killing the Marshal, and he does kill the Marshal's deputy. The deputy is dead, but the Marshal does live and is alive, and so I really enjoyed that. There is a post-credit scene showing that the Marshal is alive, and I really enjoyed that. And overall, guys, I'm really happy to see what happens in Season 2, and I'm excited to see what happens in The Mandalorian Season 3. And with that, I'm going to give the Book of Boba Fett an 8 out of 10. Sorry for the noise in the background. My phone's ringing at the moment. You guys have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next one. 8 out of 10 for the Book of Boba Fett Season 1. Bye, guys.